If you're doing it the way I do it, and I'm getting 2 pieces out of a 3/4 inch thick board, because you know the blade is thick enough to where you won't be able to get a 3rd piece. So I'm going to have to use 36 inches of this board to get 2 pieces each on the 5 5/16. Alright, I've got my height adjuster plates and blocks done. I'm going to skip putting them together for now because the wife's coming home in a couple hours, so I need the garage tools. I need to get this done. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the frame angle adjusters and cut those parts. So I need outside bars, 2 pieces, 4 3/4 by 1 inch by 1/4 inch, and inside bars, 1 piece, 3 3/16 by 1 inch by 1/4 inch. 1 block, 1 piece is 1 inch by 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch. So I'm going to take that same 1x4 that I had already marked 1/4 inches off, and I'm going to cut 4 3/4. Then I'm going to cut that, and I'll have my 2 pieces. So that pair of outside bars, the 2 pieces, I still have this little piece left on that chunk, so I'm going to use that as number 15 for the 1 piece at 3 3/16 by 1 inch by 1/4 inch. It's already 1/4 inch because of the last piece I cut. So all I have to do is cut this, and this will be my piece. Alright, part number 16 for the frame angle adjuster. It's going to be 1 block, 1 piece, 1 inch by 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch. And you should have plenty of scrap that can match that. So alright, well, I have the 7/16 drill bit in the press. I took 3 of the 4 pieces for this unit and taped them together. So I found the center line here, and I went in ½ inch. So I'm going to put a 7/16 hole through all 3 of these pieces at that center line. This is going to be a straight through hole, no angle to it. Now, I'm going to put a 1/4 inch hole here. So I went ½ inch in and ½ inch in for the center line. So now what I'm going to do is take the tape off, put the block where it's supposed to be, and glue that, and then screw it together later. I'm going to glue this little block in here. If you trust that everything is accurate, you can do this off the machine. If you don't trust that everything is accurate, I strongly recommend you put it in place where it should be. Again, I'm putting the grain so that I'm going to drill through it instead of with it. So I just put glue on both surfaces that I'm going to be using. I'm lining up the top edge of everything because they're not all perfectly the same size. Now, 30 minutes from now, or whenever I get to it, that'll be solid enough that I can take this clamp off and put I should say 2 screws on each side, kind of like here and here. For this bar right here, it's supposed to be 2 bolts. I just used the 1 bar to make sure everything was straight. So you need about 1.5 inches from here to here, and about the same here. Let's see. Yeah, 1.5 inches here and 1 3/4 here. So you'll need 2 wing nuts, 2 washers, 4 washers I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bolts with the rounded off heads. So the rest of this is going to be inserting threaded rods and threaded inserts. So basically the drill press, and so I should be able to get all of this cleaned up. I'm going to build the height adjusters now. I'm going to need 12 pieces of flat 1/4 inch thick hardwood that we talked about, and 12 pieces of block that we talked about. Now I'm going to drill through them with my drill press in order to pre-drill, and so nothing splits and cracks. And I'm going to go against the grain here. If I can get the camera to focus on it, I think you can see it here. You see the grain there? I'm going to cut down through that, because if I go with it, it's probably going to end up splitting. Alright, so when you're building these, you need to glue, if you're going to use glue, only glue one side. Only one side of the blocks like this, only one block, and not glue this block. Otherwise, you're going to have to dismantle the entire bottom of each one of your squares here just to slide them up into place. So I chose to glue them together before I put screws on in them. You can see here that it's not the same length. Here's probably the end of the block, to be honest, I don't know. But anyway, I just tried to square it up, and I made sure that the cut surfaces are on the same side so that the flat surfaces are on the table and being square. The particular glue I'm using is Titebond 3, which is it's waterproof, and you can use it outside if you need to. This stuff will probably be I'll be able to drill through it in 30 minutes or less. One more thing, the more you use, the longer it's going to take to dry, so just barely scrape it on like a film and it'll be, you might have trouble with moving it within a few seconds. So this is what I mean by using less. Not a thick, large stream, you know. This one is pretty good. Even less than this will do just fine. Lay it horizontally. Grain, horizontal. Doesn't matter if it's too long or too short, just center it. If it's too short, put it on this factory edge. If it's too long. Now take this, make sure the factory edge is on that side because this one's on that side. Now, alright, I'm standing them up on a flat-ish surface. I'm going to make sure that they're on the outer edge, the blocks are on the outer edge of the flat sheets. Oop, too far. That's the thing about using such a small amount of glue for this Titebond. You gotta do it quick because this stuff grabs pretty well. Alright, make sure it's as straight as square as possible. There you go, that's all there is to that. Set it off somewhere for half an hour to let it dry. Okay, for these I'm going to use a pack of wood screws, 100 count 6 by 3/4 inch. So I'm going to pre-drill and see, otherwise I have these but like I said, I already bought that other pack. These will go to the other end of the board there, so I don't really want to do that. Anyway, so I'm going to pre-drill each pad for these screws. Then I'm kind of going to countersink for the head. It's been about 50 minutes since I started gluing, so I'm not concerned about whether they're going to come apart or not. I don't think they will. Anyway, we're going to start pre-drilling like I said. Okay, I measured the screw visually, and I'm using a bit stopper here. You can use a piece of tape if you don't have them. And I also raised my table to match the swing of the drill press. It doesn't really matter where I put the camera. I can't really get it to in a spot where you can see while I'm using it. So I want to make sure that I test where the screw goes. I don't want to get it so close to the edge that the head's going to split through the side. Well, that didn't work out. Right, I had to change to a 0. I just lost what it's called. Basically, it's the head off of a hand drill that died. So I gutted it, and I'm using this for a 0 fit. The drill bit was too small for the drill press, so I'm using the shaft and the end of the old battery hand drill. Anyway, now it spins the way it's supposed to. Okay, now we can get back to it. Again, I'm going to place the screw where I don't think it's going to split anything. Just going to mark the wood. And now I will drill it down to my stop piece. Alright, now I'm going to use a manual screwdriver. I don't want to split anything. So you see the screws here. Now the other side, we're going to have to go in closer to the center to hold the boards in, otherwise we're just going to hit the screws. And where am I here? Otherwise we're just going to hit the screws and crack everything and have to start all over. So we're not going to do that, are we? Nope. I'm fairly certain I stated this before, but even if you pre-drill them, you can still get cracks. See that one? And that one. So I'm going to dab a little bit of Tight Bond 3 into them and let them dry. Okay, the next step is to drill the holes for these rods. Excuse me, this set will be just a single hole, where this set is going to be oblong, so the rod can do that. For these, I recommend that if you did have any crack, I would take the ones with the worst cracks and use them up on the top, because those are only going to be there to hold while you're not using it and while you're there, squaring it up. So they will have the least stress. Marked the center line where their holes are going to go for my rods. I have a really good set of bits, so I'm going to go just a hair over the size so that I don't have to fight the thread for the top rod. And again, they're just one center hole. And I'm putting the factory edges of the wood up. Now these are marked to the center line, and these are going to be an oblong hole. You can do these before you put these all together, but I figured it might actually work better for me if I do them while they are put together. Alright, I've got a pack of these inserts. You can do this before you put these together, or you can do it now. It doesn't matter. So found the center line in the block here. I'm gonna drill out, put this insert into it, and then I'll be able to use threaded knobs. These 1/4 inch inserts are 5/16 outside diameter. 11/32. The threaded inserts, they only go on one side. Now, as I just said, I'm doing this in the wrong spot. I should have done it earlier. So in order to keep this anywhere near square, I'm having to use one of my guitar jigs to try to get it as square as possible. I'm drilling all the way through it. This particular brand of insert uses a number 6 metric hex key, which I find strange considering this is a 1/4 inch. But anyway. That's pretty tight. So all the right measurements in the world are not going to make a difference if you drill the holes and they don't line up. So if I were you and I had to do this all over again, I would make these, I would make sure they slide easily but just a slight amount of tension. And then I would take a pencil on the inside and I would mark off the side walls here. That way you would know where to drill. Because mine are on the center of these boards, which are just off of here somehow. Obviously I didn't do something totally perfect. So anyway, like I said, go on the inside, draw, trace the inside lines, and then go from there. Each one of these, glue on one side cut the board maybe an eighth of an inch longer than it's supposed to be. Put it into the position that you want, and then take a pencil and draw down this line here. Then you'll know where to put your 3/4 inch piece, and it's not going to be so tough that you have to fight it. Secondly, put it in there and mark on the inside here, on the outside board, mark on the inside of these boards with a pencil. That way you're going to know where to put the hole, because being wood, it might expand and contract and it won't actually, be perfect every time. So as you can see, I've done this board and I cut it apart. I literally had to cut it apart because things were not working out. So I'm just assuming the camera can see this, but you can see my hole was maybe a 64th off. Yeah, maybe a 64th. Well, anyway, that's pretty tight. It makes things difficult. So I cut it apart, and I'm showing you the way I would have done it had I known better. Okay? I'm just doing this on the fly, so I'm learning as you are. Anyway, so do that with all 2, 4, 6 pieces. All of these 6. Okay. Now these 4 pieces, as I said, they're going to be oblong holes, and these top pieces need to be center or just single holes. But the top pieces, see how I've centered this? That's wrong. It needs to be up here, just below where it's gonna crack the wood. Also, when you put these rods on, I would use larger washers than are necessary for your threaded rod. That way, when the rod is like this, the washer's not going to want to be like this. You see, it's not going to bind up on the wood. It might have a little give and be good for you. So I've got the top pair of braces. They need a straight hole all the way through. So I've got my drill press set just deep enough to go into this block. There are much safer ways to do that.